Welcome to another episode of Dad Up, everyone. Thank you guys very much for joining me. I'm excited because this individual is going to talk about a very important subject, especially around this time of year for families, for parents, for kids. And so I usually try to have somebody like this on my show every single year around this time. What I'm talking about is around school time, whether it's high school, college, things like that. But my good friend Shellee Howard has joined me on Dad Up. Welcome to the show, Shellee.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive right in because this is a touchy subject in some cases. It can cause tension in the house, obviously, and financially, it can be challenging for a lot of parents and students, for that matter, that want to try to go on to further education, whether it's a college or a technical school or something like that. But what is your background? Let's talk a little bit about that before we dive into some of these topics. But what's your background and why is this subject important to you?
Such a good question, and I'll try to keep it brief. As the CEO of College Ready, I'm going into my 18th application season, and this honestly got started when my firstborn was in middle school. He is now an orthopedic surgeon at 31 years old, so it's been a bit of time that I've been doing this. But why I do this, College Ready is more than just a career. It's something that I am passionate about inspiring teenagers to be the very best they can be, not only just to get into college, but to get out with a career and no debt is very critical. And all four of my own children have got into college and graduated debt free. And they're no different than your listeners. So I'm hoping that
Hmm.
I can give them some really tangible things that they can go and do and be ready so they don't have to worry about the debt.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I read a statistic, and gosh, I'm going to pull it up because I drawn a blank on the actual number. I think it was roughly. Um, Let me pull it up. It said approximately 3.5 million Americans, or about 1% of US adults, owe $100,000 or more in student debt. And that's crazy. That's insane to me to think about that number. And unfortunately, it's it's real. And that can scare a lot of people as far as sending their kids to college. That can scare, for my wife and I, we have both our boys are out of college now, and we didn't plan. I wish I had known what I know now about college and about getting through college without having at least an enormous amount of debt, college debt. I wish I knew now what I know, what I wish I knew then what I know now about it, just from having guests like you on. But I mean, for my two boys in particular, and my younger son even had a athletic scholarship, but even with that athletic scholarship, we still had $100,000 in college debt for him. And my older son, his was a little bit less. I think his was right around the 50,000 range, maybe 40,000 range. But fortunately, we used things that, probably most parents do is equity in our home, to pay off the college debt, but we've used the equity in our home to do that. And so, yeah, it's challenging, and I'm really curious to hear how did you get your kids that, in a brief, I guess, uh, what's the word I'm thinking of? In a brief topic or conversation, how did you get your kids through that process and not be college and not have college debt?
So this is probably the number one question I get asked is how did my son get into Harvard and graduate debt free? Out of
Right.
all the things I've ever been asked over the last 18 years. And really, it breaks down to this. So parents, think about this for a moment. You're a business owner. College is a business. A young adult comes to you and says, I would like a job, please. And you say, Great, where's your resume? They say, Oh, yeah, I don't have a resume. I'm just really hoping to get experience. Will you hire me? You're like, Well, okay, but I'm going to pay you minimum wage. Now you have another student who has lots of work experience and a very deep resume. and that young person comes to you and says, I would like a job and I can get started and make your life easier on day one, and here's my experience. And now you're going to say, well, I'm definitely going to pay you a lot more because you are worth a lot more to me. So if you can just put your mind there for a moment, because many people get wrapped up in the emotions of, my kid went to X, Y, or Z school. That was not important to me. What was important to me is that my son would get into the best fit academic, social, and financial fit college and graduate debt free. I was fortunate. I had no debt when I graduated. And so I just thought that was normal. And long story short, I started working with him when he was in middle school.
Mm.
And yes, he did everything I asked him to do. So we have to, again, caveat, I have four children, and one out of four did exactly what I asked him to do. Then, so if you saw his resume, there would be no doubt that it would be mind blowing of why he was a valuable candidate. So that's number one. He applied to 12 schools. He had seven full ride offers. We were super excited, or I was. He got the presidential scholarship at USC. I'm from California. I'm thinking outstanding. We're going to keep him an hour from home. I don't know anybody from USC, but it seems like a cool school. We'll learn the fight song, buy the sweatshirt. And it wasn't but 5 days later, Harvard sent this beautiful envelope in the mail. And it said, you've been accepted, and we'd like to fly you out here at no cost to you to check it out. And my son honestly made me call the school because he thought somebody was playing a joke on him. Like he was not confident that that was truly meant for him. And long story short is they matched USC, which was a full ride.
Wow.
And because they have a 53 billion endowment, the money is not the problem. It's getting in and showing them that you deserve to be there enough that they're willing to fight for you. So it's a mindset thing that parents need to shift into. My second went to University of Alabama for free, and that was her dream school. Again, why not California? I will never understand. But she said, Mom, the football, right? Like she wanted the football. And then child number three said, well, I'm going to stay in California. Child number four just graduated from the Czech Republic of Prague at a international school with a dual US and European degree. So even my own four, I have Ivy, I have big football, I have California, and I have international. So when people say, oh, you just got lucky, no, there's no luck involved. It truly leaning into their amazing gifts and talents and helping them to really stand out is exactly how to get the big money, because picking the right college is the way to get the biggest money. That's it. That's the secret. And everybody is like, well, tell me something that I can go and do. Well, 18 years and I have 3 degrees. I have figured this out because I was not going. I told each of my children I was not going into debt and they had no assets. So what was the plan? The plan was they were going to do it my way or they were going to have to work their way through it. So it was just really having some really tough conversations early on about this is not just 4 years of fun. This is really a strategy of where are you going to adult and how you're going to do it. So that's what's really important. Our program is unlike any other program in the United States because we are very focused. Last year, we had 29 seniors get 10.2 million in scholarships.
Oh, that's awesome.
So when people say there's no money, it's just they don't know where the money is.
Right. Well, I think, okay, so there's a couple things I want to unpack there. Number one, I mean, it sounds like you're really talking about the application process in itself. And basically, that application is basically their resume, the stuff that they put on there to show what they've done, not only what they have done, but what they could provide to the school when they go there. And there's a couple things that are important to note there. And correct me if I'm wrong, Shellee, but number one, your kid's not going to get into a school with subpar grades. So they do have to have the grades in order to even get looked at as a potential candidate from a college. So yes, there are those sides of it. Yes, your kid does have to have good grades or get good grades in through, and I would recommend starting that freshman year of high school, getting the good grades all the way through high school in order to at least get looked at. Number two, when she's talking about the resume, she's referring to things that maybe the child has done outside of school, extracurricular activities, not just playing sports. Sports is part of it, but not just playing sports, but community service projects, things like that, that your child would get into to participate in and volunteer in, different volunteer services, things like that, that they can list to show that, yes, I'm mature, I'm responsible, I can do these things, I've done these things, I participated in these things, and that's why I'd be a good candidate for your school. And that doesn't have to start at a high school level. That can start, which she had mentioned, at junior high level or earlier. And those are important things to note. Another area is even things like Cub Scouts. I know there's a lot of things, misconceptions about the Cub Scouts and all that, but you get into Cub Scouts and then Boy Scouts, and then you get into, you're getting your
Eagle Scout.
what's
Eagle
that?
Scout.
Eagle
Eagle
Scout.
Scout.
Yeah, you get into getting that and getting all that stuff done. That's another area that could go on to that, that so-called resume or application for colleges. So did I did I nail all those things right, or am I missing anything?
You're missing a few things.
Okay.
So the first thing parents you want to be thinking about is this. Who is your student and what matters to them? Because colleges are going to ask that question. And if it doesn't come through, they're going to still be asking that question, but that your child's not going to get accepted. So if you can just simply think about this in the simplest form, what your child is doing, is it going to tell the university anything about them? If they're doing things just to check a box, colleges know that's not genuine. That's not their passion. That's not what they're truly their core value. So
Hmm.
many people are just looking for the easy fix just to check the box, and that is the number one problem. The other thing is the GPA and the test score are just the minimum because somebody's going to have a better GPA and a better test score. So now
Mhm.
what are you going to bring? Then it comes to passion with a purpose, community service. Like I mentioned, not just going and feeding the homeless unless your child says, I cannot wait to feed the homeless, right? It has to come from them, not your passion, not your service, but something truly theirs. The essay has to sound like they really enjoyed it and they learned a lot about themselves doing it. Then there's leadership. This is the second most critical thing that most people miss. Colleges are not looking for students to come, sit at a desk, take an education, and go on their merry way. They're looking for leaders to come, lead clubs, organizations, make their school better. So then when you graduate, you tell everybody what an amazing experience you had, and now you are marketing for that business. So leadership is critical. Then you come into extracurriculars. What do they say about you? If you are doing things that you don't want to do, but you think colleges want you to do, stop it. That's not going to help you at all.
Mhm.
Athletic scholarships at best right now are 6% will receive any type of money. 2% will receive a full ride. If you take all that money you spend on coaches and private lessons and club sports and all of that great stuff, and you really put it on tutoring and test prep and all of the stuff that's going to help your child through their life, I'm not saying ditch the sports, I'm just saying balance the sports. And then it comes down to letters of recommendation and ultimately the essay. So it takes all of that. Back in the day, we applied to a couple schools, we typed it on a typewriter, we used whiteout, we put a stamp on it, we hope it
Right.
got there. There was a lot of hope that went into it. Now the pressure is so high, and students are applying to so many colleges that they're hitting burnout. It doesn't have to be like that. It really can be fun, enjoyable, and just part of adulting.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. You're listing a lot of things that are important for that process. It's not an easy process. It can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be difficult. It should be fun. You should make it fun and entertaining, or not entertaining, but fun, and think of it as a reward. Look at you're filling out. You're doing this to hopefully get into a college that like in her case, provided a full ride scholarship. I mean, for me, I went through college and I went through a private university, but I had no college debt. And the reason I had no college debt when I graduated is because I was in the military. So I got the GI Bill to pay for my college. So I went through school completely, basically free, and had no college debt. My wife, on the other hand, she went and got her college degree. Her parents, same thing we did with our boys, her parents paid for her college. And then when she went back and got her master's, we paid for it out of pocket. So again, we don't have her debt, college debt, but we did pay for it out of pocket, and we had to really budget for it every single month in order to do that. So there's different ways around it, but for kids that are wanting to go to college, uh, do you recommend starting like college application process when they're in junior high?
No. So in middle school, and again, every child's unique. Some are going to mature. I have some seventh graders who are more mature than my seniors. So every child is unique. When a child, a teenager, is interested, is curious, is like, I often talk about it like going to a museum or an art gallery. Some students will be fascinated and they'll be on board and they'll ask lots of questions. And some will be like so bored to tears that they can't wait to leave and go play on their skateboard, whatever that may be. So again, it has to be unique. It's not one size fits all. But to have the financial runway, that's what we're talking about. The FAFSA looks at the second semester of your high school sophomore year. So if you're waiting until your junior year to have this conversation, you just missed out on 50% of scholarships.
Mm.
So if you just want to look at it from a financial perspective, get your financial house in order, lower your student aid index so you can get more money from the FAFSA, and you can be doing this right now as a financial strategy. I'm not a financial advisor, but I know enough that I could educate you and then you speak to your financial advisor. But the FAFSA, it's interesting. Most people throw up their hands and they're like, I just make too much money and I don't make
Mhm.
enough money. I live in California or I live in Texas or Florida, wherever, and it's expensive to live there. And what they don't fully understand is it's where your assets are held and how much money you make, and how that all comes together. Because if money is in your child's name, they assess it double. If money is in your family name and it's in their retirement, it's completely off the table. So, understanding where your money is going to benefit your family is the first step, and you can be doing that right now. You do not have to wait at all. That's number one. Number two is start with community service. It is not a bad idea to teach your child to
Right.
love, to help other people at a very young age. And that may be just doing it side by side with you. It may
Regardless of college.
yeah, it may just be the family goes and volunteers, and you say, wow, you led that group quite well. Or I saw how you just stepped up. That was so impressive. And genuinely start to call out their gifts and their strengths. And then they're like, whoa, my parents proud of me. It felt good. These people think I'm amazing. Yeah, let's do some more of that.
Hmm.
Then you start to see, are they going to want to be in a research lab? Are they going to want to be outdoors every day? You start to get a feel for, wait a minute, we're starting to talk about careers without even saying the word career. And all while they're doing something good for somebody else. And then you get into the extracurriculars. Helping students be the very best they can be is about winning and losing. It's about failing forward. It's about picking yourself up and dusting yourself up. So if they're not good at every extracurricular, it's okay. Colleges are okay with that. It is important that a student starts to find their path. If they bounce forever for 4 years, that's going to show immaturity. So at some
Mhm.
point, they have to be like, okay, I'm a soccer player or I'm a flute player or whatever that looks like. So it really can start without saying one word about college. And then the other thing I really encourage families to do is when you're traveling, stop at a local college, walk around the campus. You don't have to make an appointment. You download the app to your phone, you put in your earbuds, you have lunch at the Commons, you give them the G-rated version of your experience, and they're like curious and asking questions. I took my son to Harvard while we were in Boston in fifth grade, and he saw the freshman eating area, the Commons. He was like, Mom, it's Harry Potter. Like, this is Hogwarts. This is awesome. I want to come here. And then all of a sudden, it came alive for him, not like more high school. So
Yeah,
it really is about how you approach it, not as where do you want to go and where do you want to study and we need to, no, it needs to be fun and
right.
experimental and joyful. They'll get there.
Well, let me ask you this before I let you go. Let me ask you this. If parents kind of feel overwhelmed right now with starting this process and not really sure where to begin. I know for us, we met with our son's high school counselor who dealt with helping students do the FAFSA and fill out the applications and stuff. So we used our counselor. We didn't use an outside service, somebody like you. We just used our counselor, but for parents that are feeling overwhelmed, like, I don't know where to begin. This is my first child. I'm sending out to college, and there's so many things that I need to take care of. Give me some practical first steps that they should do that would really, I guess, not only help them get started, but also ease the tension or the stress of having to do this process.
Step one is you're going to ask your family what is most important for your family, the academic fit, the social fit, or the financial fit. And that's how you prioritize this whole process. Yes, we want it all. Yes, I agree. I wanted it all for my kids. But if you truly can't afford for your child to go to college without a scholarship, they need to understand that before they apply there. Getting in and being told, sorry, we can't afford it, that is not going to be helpful. Much
Mm,
better to do it on the front end. So, what I'm saying is open communication between the people who are paying for it. And if your child has skin in the game, they probably should be in that conference. Number two, if you want scholarships, it doesn't matter if you're at a private school, a public school, a boarding school. I want you to ask them, are you going to help me, one, find scholarships, get scholarships? Are you going to help me to reduce my student aid index? And are you going to help me complete the FAFSA? I will tell you, it's about 2%.
wow.
So for all of those families who are like, well, great, then who's going to do this? Take that finger and point it right back at yourself
Yeah,
because your child has no idea what your family situation is.
right.
And they really don't even have financial literacy at this point, if we want to be completely honest. So now you have to have the big grown up conversation of, okay, this is our reality. Then you don't want to fall into the myths and the traps of thinking that your local public school, your in-state public school is the cheapest route because it is not.
Mm,
It is not the cheapest route, and it's counterintuitive to what we all want to think. But there are many schools that will give you a lot more money and give you a lot better education and get you in and out in 4 years. The bottom line is, I have two best-selling books. They're on Amazon. The first one is How to Send Your Student to College Without Losing Your Mind or Your Money. Just buy the book. It is, I think, 99 cents right now I have on sale for your listeners. It
that's
gives
awesome.
you the foundation. This is, I mean, 99-cent investment, right? It is pick up, read a chapter, put it down. My newest one was released in November. It's also a bestseller, and it's called The College Admissions Plan Simplified. Again, like I can't make it any easier for families than these two books. After reading these two books, if you're like, I still don't want to do this myself, like my child and I don't want to fight with them. That's when you have to really start thinking, who is going to do this? The 17-year-old cannot do this.
Right.
I've never met one. And if you or your spouse don't want to do it, just like buying a home, you hire a realtor, doing your taxes, you hire a CPA. Just know 1 in 2.5 families now hire an independent college consultant. It is a very normal process, and we start as low as $275. If that scares you, college will be terrifying for you.
Right.
So I just want you to know I have free resources on my website if you go to collegereadyplan.com. And if you would like to ask your questions to me, go to collegereadyplan.info and let's have a conversation. I don't charge you anything for it, and I'm totally upfront and transparent.
Awesome. Well, that is great information. Super helpful. I know we talked about a lot, and I feel like we could continue on with this conversation for another hour or two easily, with all this stuff that we could, dissect in what we discussed today. But thank you very much, Shellee, for sharing not only the information about your books, but the information you shared today in the episode. And I absolutely will make sure that all those links are in the show notes and stuff for you. But thank you very much for being on. I appreciate it. And it's been certainly a pleasure getting to know you.
Thank you so much, Bryan.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, don't let this be overwhelming for you. Don't let this be stressful for you. It doesn't have to be. It can be fun. It can be enjoyable. It should be an important chapter in your family's lives that you're about to send your child off to college. That's a big step. That's a big chapter that you're opening up. And it shouldn't be daunting. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And that's the kind of the message that Shellee's trying to share. So if you have questions or comments, concerns, frustrations, just stress or anxiety over it, please, like she said, feel free to reach out to her. You can reach out to me too, and I can direct you to Shellee. I can direct you to other people as well. But please reach out to her and ask her questions and pick up her books. All the links are going to be in the show notes below, so you don't have to try and search for them. But listen, don't let this be a tough process for you. It doesn't have to be, and certainly it can be an enjoyable. And not only that, how great would it feel as parents to be able to put your kids through college and not have to worry about them having college debt or you having to carry their college debt? That's an amazing feeling. And make sure you guys check out her social media, check out her links, and check out her books. And as always, if you are not yet subscribed to my show, please make sure you do that so you don't miss any of the awesome guests that I have on each and every week. And I look forward. Wow, another amazing episode in the books. So much was shared, and I'm truly grateful my guest was able to pour into you to help you elevate your dad game and really dad up. Make sure you bang that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're here, please don't forget to leave me a rating and a review. I always appreciate the feedback. And one last thing, don't forget, your role as a dad is one of the most important roles you have. So if you need a little help or have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on my website at daduptribe.com or at my Instagram page at daduppodcast. Until next time, everyone, dad up.